אני רוצה פרנסים תבחרים.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a great day. Thanks for sending it out.
Of course. I know. That was hilarious.
You know, all the good jokes in those videos.
When everything is edited out, what's left is nice.
You know, it's the other way around. Outtakes are the best. Stuff that normally you wouldn't put in, you know? Hey, Dove, how are you? The dinner was very funny. One of the guys said, I really like the white house much better. It's nice when we go over their house. There's some really funny stuff. I don't know if you watched it.
I did. Very cute. There's a way this past week
What would you say?
at a camp conference. And I did watch it. It's good.
We're very excited about the free Sternberg sweatshirts that we have.
Oh, did they come to get him?
I hear these things
Oh, yeah.
floating around my house. I
I
don't know
don't think they
details.
came. I don't think they came. That's it, bro.
External mic.
Evo.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell them to come because we're taking them up to camp. It was for past Friday. Tell them they didn't come to push them up.
What do you mean? You have the sweatshirts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for camp day.
Right, can't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Seniors.
Yeah, but yeah, it's for all your kids to learn, but tell them it's from by my house. Because I'm taking them back. I have to get them out of my house.
Okay. Okay, I'll tell my daughter.
Yeah, please do.
When was she supposed to get it? Did they bring it to school or
She's
something?
supposed to get it on Thursday night. It is a big house.
Huh? I
Yeah,
mean,
make sure she got it.
very excited. I'll text her right
Make
now.
sure she got it. Yeah, there were a couple of kids that didn't get it. But I have like boxes all over the house. I'm going up even I think I'm going Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll probably come back to it.
We just get one of these microphones. They're not that expensive. Our audio is the worst. Try and
I
listen.
don't think so at all, though. This is probably one that
How long have you been in the audio video business?
Not a matter of that, matter of what was.
I'll fix
Like,
it.
it's okay, I can hear it.
Of course you can hear it. I didn't say you couldn't hear it. I said the audio
But you
quality
could
is the
improve.
worst.
You can improve.
If you have to listen, if you want to have the worst audio, use a camera mic.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That's how you do
I'm
the
just
worst
saying,
audio.
I can hear it, maybe.
Well, I could, if I played two classes side by side.
By the way, just let me know.
I know the voice in the back comes out much better than the voice in the front. The mic is probably I don't know where. Actually hear it very well.
No, I know it'll be a million times better if you were to look. No problem.
I shouldn't say anything because most people don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
If
I
people don't do the mics up on this.
Hey, so you-
Yaakov, he said, of course. I guess it's like. And spoke to somebody, they said they're replacing the system. You know, and I spoke to Yaakov, he said, yes, I know I should buy something. It's an occupational hazard, you notice these things.
Do the handouts, yeah. Morning. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start. Okay.
Is this on the quiz?
Yeah, of course. That's actually the cheat sheet. You'll see. It's actually the cheat sheet. Good. Thank you.
That's it. No problem.
Okay. So I was thinking about not going weiter in the Sefer, but then I decided we're going to go weiter in the Sefer. Page 163, as we're starting at Hashem this week, already the light of Purim already is upon us, with Parnes HaShana coming early this year, which is very special because it really should be Shabbos, which really means Purim is next week. Because we don't fast on Shabbos, we bring Parnes HaShana early, so already the Hachanas, the light of Purim has come down already this past Shabbos, and it's already with us right now. And for the men, while we are thinking about Purim, the women start saying Purim, that means Pesach's coming. It's a zman of mitzvahs. It's a zman of a lot of mitzvahs, Baruch Hashem. And therefore, we're up to the part of the Sefer. Perek Revi in Shaar Habitachon, we've been discussing Bitachon the Ma'isa, all the different types of sugyas, how to bring Bitachon into our life, into all the different areas of our life. Now we're coming to a place, before it was all about Gashmias, about personal Gashmias, about finances, bank accounts, jobs. Then we started dealing with social aspects of Bitachon, how to deal with people, how to deal with ourselves, how to deal with Rishalim. Now we're going to learn how to deal with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, because now we're going to discuss Bitachon by mitzvahs. What's the proper Bitachon when it comes to mitzvahs? And there's a distinct Yetzer Hara, of course, when we're dealing with Ruchnius areas, that the Yetzer Hara likes. This is his place. They likes to really mess us up. The Yetzer Hara, right? Because if you can get a Jew by his Ruchnius, that's what destroys him. So we have to learn this very carefully. We've mentioned some of these things before, but for those who have never heard any of these ideas, it's really one main idea, I think. It's a chiddush. It's a chiddush. What the Chovos HaLevavos is. It seems to be on face value it's a chiddush. I don't really think it is. I think there are Mamari Chazal that back it up. And even if not, as I've always said, I have never seen in my entire life, I think ever, anybody argue with anything the Chovos HaLevavos says. Ever. Has anybody ever seen that? Maybe they say a different shot in something. I've never seen anybody ever say one word in a negative way or something like he's wrong. Never. So, with that, we'll assume everything he says is emes lamito, and we have to then live by it. We have to have bitachon. We have to trust in the tzaddik who's guiding us how to trust in a Kodesh Baruch Hu. When it comes to mitzvahs, we have a tendency. It could be personalities. It's not everybody. It's certain personalities, and it's also certain upbringings. Now, when it comes to mitzvahs, we have a certain feeling that we have to do everything possible. We have to do everything possible. This is Ruchnius.
in our mind, in our heart, we know that Ruchnis is more important than Gashmis. Although we put more hours Lamaisa into our Gashmis than our Ruchnis, that's life. But we know Ruchnis is so much more important than Gashmis. And we could turn our Gashmis into Ruchnis. But the Ruchnis, this is where we have to put all our kochos in. Hakol b'dei Shemayim, chutz miyar Shemayim. So one of the ways that people learn, Hakol b'dei Shemayim, everything's in the hands of Shemayim. Everything in the world of Gashmis is b'dei Shemayim. This is one of the ways they learn. Chutz, what's not b'dei Shemayim? Yirah Shemayim, Torah, mitzvahs. You have to. That's Jews. Am Yisrael. We have to do that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'll do everything when it comes to Gashmis. But Ruchnis, that's on you. So that's how some people learn. And we feel that way. And therefore, we're sometimes hard on ourselves. It can come out. If all the achrayas, all the responsibilities on me to perform this mitzvah, me personally, well then I have to perform. And if I don't, so some people say, okay, I'll do better next time. But some people take a deep dive. I keep getting this wrong 1,000 times. Who am I? I can't daven, I can't learn, look at me, and it's like it could be a slow, not a deep dive, but it's a slow turn down in Torah mitzvahs. I'm not good at learning, I'm not good at this, I can't get up on time, I keep getting angry, there goes my midos again. And slowly but surely, for many people, it's on and down. And of course they try, but it's not with koach, right? So let's see how the Chovos teaches how to trust, how to have bitachon in a Kodesh Baruch Hu when it comes to Torah mitzvahs. So page 163. Yeah, the author now turns to discuss how a person is to have bitachon regarding matters of the fourth category, matters pertaining Torah and mitzvahs that only affect the person himself. Okay, there are 7 categories, I'm not going to go into them now, but here we're discussing specifically trusting in a Kodesh Baruch Hu in regards to Torah and mitzvahs that only affect the person himself. As
opposed to
mitzvahs that have to do with other people. Let's say tzedakah. But let's see here. He explains some of the mitzvahs. He says, Perish Chelek HaRevi, let's just read. The explanation of the proper manner in which a person has bitachon regarding the fourth category, which is comprised of matters pertaining to the duties of the heart and the limbs of the person, from which only the person himself gains or is harmed by them. V'zeh, and he explains some of the mitzvahs, katzon, ktila, kasukah, kalulav, right? Fasting, tefillah, we know sukkah, lulav, katzitzis, shmir Shabbos, keeping Shabbos, v'hamoadim, v'himana min haveros, and refraining from isurim, averos, transgressions, right? That's just between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'chol chovos halavavos, and all the chovos halavavos. So all the different aspects of mitzvahs that don't have to do with actual doing, emunah, bitachon, ahavas Hashem, yiras Hashem, again, without doing anything, in the mind and in the heart. All those mitzvahs. Kavanas ha-mitzvah, yichar ha-maisa, v'chol halavavos ashelo sa'avorna el zulaso. These transgressions that don't pertain to anyone else. Right? We're not talking about where you've mazik somebody. We'll get to that. Just a person and God. V'so aloson v'nizkan miyuchados bo nibli shar b'nei adam. And just to translate from the halfway down, and all the duties of the heart that do not pertain to anyone else and whose benefit or harm only affect him and no one else. So he's just setting the stage, what category we're talking about. Torah, mitzvahs observance, ases, los ases, between you and a Kodesh Baruch Hu only. Ofne Shaar Habitachon bekulam, al helo kim yisbarach, ma shani mevar oso, umelokim esha lahoros osi ha'emes barachim. I'll explain the proper way in which to rely upon God, may He be blessed, regarding all these matters. And then he says something in the Sefer I wouldn't have noticed this, but I have a nice Sefer on Bitachon that mentions this next line that the Chovos HaLevavos says. He says it nowhere else. And he says, I ask of God that in His mercy He show me the truth in this matter. Because now the Chovos HaLevavos is going to touch mitzvahs, Torah mitzvahs. And we're going to see how ultimately one of the benefits of what he's going to tell us, which of course is in line with the ultimate benefit of bitachon, which is to be calm, menuchas hanefesh, yishuv hadas, tranquility, serenity, right? That's the main goal. So when you bring that into the world of Torah mitzvahs and you stay calm, what can potentially happen is it can lighten, it can help a person feel more light, a little bit less stress. Therefore, he might not push as much, we'll see, as he would have done before learning. And therefore, what could come out is that a person, he's not as motivated. I think he'll be even more motivated. But it could be that he will perform, the performance in calmness might go down. We'll see. And therefore he asks for mercy because although it's the emes what he's going to say, you have to still be careful. Because at the end of the day, tachas hayediyah shelo neida. We're getting to Purim, ad lo yada. At the end of all yediyah, as much as you could possibly know, in any given area, you have to believe and know you don't know. We try our best in life. No one can ever say, I know 100%. Except to know that I know there's a Borei. After that, I don't know. We try our best to try to understand what he wants from us. That's our hishtadlus. But to say, I vaday know, certain things maybe, he wants us to learn Torah, but we have to be very careful. So I ask of God that in his mercy, he show me the truth in this matter. V'hu. So he starts. Ki ma'aseh ha'avoda v'ha'aver lo yitachnu la'adam kim b'hikavetz shalosh ha'davar. Ha'echad ha'bechir b'libu matzpuno v'hasheni ha'kavana v'ha'askama la'asos ma shabacher bo v'hashlishi sheyishtadel ligmor ha'maisa be'ivarov ha'niram v'yotzi'eu el geder ha'maisa. Let's translate. So here he starts. It's as follows. Acts of service of God, any Torah and mitzvahs, and acts of transgression, and any los ases, isurim, averos, are only possible for a person to perform if the following three things come together. Three aspects of every ma'aseh mitzvah. One, the choice that he makes in his heart and mind to do a particular mitzvah, or to be an Eved Hashem in general. Number two, the mental decision to execute what he chose to do. It's very nice that we have all these nice thoughts in our mind, like, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. But then there's a second aspect of the mind, could be, we'll call it das, bina to das, is, I'm going to actually do this. And three, the efforts that he makes with his visible limbs to complete that act and bring it into the realm of action. To actually try, put an effort to do that which you chose to do and you are deciding to execute. Right? So you think most mitzvahs we're already on automatic, right? Of course, we're going to go to shul in the morning. Of course, we're going to learn a little bit. But there is a process of a person choosing to do a certain mitzvah or mitzvahs or in general to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And then he has to think, okay, how am I going to do this properly? I want to wake up early or I want to wake up on time. I got to set an alarm. I have to do all these things. And then I have to get up in the morning and actually get out of bed. If you set an alarm, that's great. But if I choose night before shul, I'm going to get up this time. I'm going to get up to get to shul on time. Great. He doesn't set an alarm. He doesn't do anything. He's just a regular guy. Wakes up 30 minutes late like he always does. Okay. So he says, that's not enough. So not only before bed does he say, I really want to try. He sets an alarm clock. Oh, so now he's executing. So he says, this is it. This is the day. He says, I'm going to do it. Sets the alarm clock. 6:30. The alarm's going up. Snooze. Sleeps right through it half an hour late. Okay. So that's not enough. I gotta choose. I'm going to do it. I got to set the alarm clock. And I actually have to get out of bed. Right? Get out of bed. We got to get out. We got to move. Got to do the hishtadlus. Right? 3 parts. Let's keep going. The author will now make a distinction between the first 2 things about which a person should not have bitachon in God to help him with them, and the third thing for which bitachon is required. Uma she'enu ne'elam mimenu behem kebechiras ha'avoda v'ha'avera v'ha'kavana v'ha'askama al ha'maisa ha'bitachon alokim b'zeh ta'os v'sichlas. regarding the parts of the above three things that are not hidden from us, that we have the ability to do, meaning that it is in our power to control them, namely, number one, the choice that we make to either serve God or to transgress His will. This is a classic bechira. Do you choose God or not choose God? Do I choose in general? Do I choose in specific this mitzvah, or do I not choose it? That's my bechira. Hakol b'dei shamayim chutz mi shamayim. That's my choice. You can't sit and say, well, if a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants me to get up to daven today, He'll put it into my head that I should get up and daven today. Can't do that. Number two, the mental decision to execute. Right? How am I going to do this? I have to set the alarm clock. I have to do different things to say I'm going to do this, both of which are in our control. Right? You can't say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, if you want this to happen, put it into my head. This is, we have to do this. There's nothing to talk about. And it would be a mistake and be foolish of us to rely on God for this. Now, there could be certain situations where something is very difficult and we need some help from a Kodesh Baruch Hu, meaning I basically choose to do it, but a Borei Olam, I need you to help me, give me more motivation. That might be fine. But you have to originally choose to do mitzvahs. Right? He'll explain more in a second. All of Torah is based on this. This is because the Creator, may He be blessed, has left us in control of the choice to either serve Him or to rebel against Him, as it is written, you shall choose life. Right? This is the bechira of life. Do you want to do the mitzvah? Do you not want to do the mitzvah? If you want to do the mitzvah, I have to decide, I'm not just I want to, but I really, really want to. I'm going to do this. True? It's clear. This is bechira. Yeah? Okay. Life here refers to Torah observance. And in this verse, God tells us to choose life. That's your bechira. That's where the bechira starts from. Right? Everybody says the word free will. What do they say in Hebrew? Bechira chavshis. Bechira chavshis. I don't even know where the source of that is. Honestly, those two words. Chavshis. Anyone know where that is? Bechira chavshis. I'm going to look that up. What's the source? But what the Chovah is teaching us, Ubecharta b'chaim. I've placed before you bracha, I have klala. You could choose a way of Torah, you could choose a way of not Torah. You could choose God or not choose God. That's where the word becharta comes into life. It's your choice to make that I want to do this. But what's not in our choice? What's not in our ability? V'lo hiniach b'shusenu hashlamas hamaisa ba'avoda u'ba'avera. Ella b'sibos shem chutz lanu mizdamnos b'ktsasa itam v'nimnos b'ktsasa. So this is the big line. However, He did not leave us in control of executing the action to its completion. No Jew, as many kavanas as you have, and as much ishtad as you put into any mitzvah, the actual gemar, the completion, is never up to man. Ever. Ever. You can never force the completion of anything. It looks that way. Looks that way, like that way in Gashmis also. Well, I made the call and I offered it, and he said, yeah, so I did it. But we know that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who arranges that. He allowed the call to go through. He's the one who wanted this person to say yes. He wants you to make the money. When it comes to Gashmis, Ruchnis, it's the same thing. You can put everything you want in. You can go to the mikveh 1,000 times, and you can drink 100 coffees, and you get 25 hours of sleep, and still you have a bad davening. You did everything possible. You learn Pirush Milim, you mamish prepared 10 times the amount you need, still you got a bad davening. However, He did not leave us in control. We do not have shlita. We do not have control. We can't choose that the or doesn't leave us in control of executing the action to its completion.
For sure, it's the completion. But okay, sorry.
Be it an act of service of God or a transgression. Whoa. Not only by Maisa mitzvahs, the actual act, the completion, is not in our rishos, Kodesh Baruch Hu decides, but even in Aveira, the actual Aveira itself, the Maisa, That's not Narishas either. Your feet that took you there, that was your Bechira. The thoughts, the heart, the desire, if you didn't work on it enough, you're going to be held accountable. But the Maisa, Lamaisa, not you. Not you. Now, tshuva, of course, we'll just say this. Tshuva is mostly on the fact that you got there. But even that a Kodesh Baruch Hu allowed you to do that which you did, you still needed tshuva on that. Because you did, Kodesh Baruch Hu for some reason wanted you to do that. You needed tshuva on that also. But the main tshuva and the main schar we'll see is really on what you can do. What can you do? Everything up until the Maisa. The Maisa you can't do. I said this Maisa already, I think, here, and the first time I was learning this, a few years ago, we had a Chabura, and a guy tells me, I was joking, and he said it happened to him. I said, you could buy the fanciest lulav and esrog, you spend $1,000, and you could prepare a nice little case and give you a beautiful, and you everything's ready, and you wake up at half hour early, and you get to shul, you want to shake the lulav. Right before he takes his lulav and esrog, his kid grabbed the esrog and broke the pitum. A second before the bracha. It was like in his hands. It's like, yeah, that happened to my kid did that the other day. Oy vey.
Can you glue it together?
Hmm.
That's the toothpicks. That's the mice that the Rabbi always tells everybody. Right? You can never, very often, if you put the shtadlos in, you get right up to the Maisa, it does go the way that you tried for it to go, but still it's not up to you. Just because it looks that way, as we've learned, it doesn't mean it's up to you. You have to change our understanding. Instead, it is dependent on external factors that are beyond our control. Kodesh Baruch Hu decides, yes or no, and he runs the whole world in order to get you to do this mitzvah or to not do this mitzvah. These factors are sometimes available and sometimes unavailable. I have all the ratzonos in the world to shake a lulav and esrog, but in Europe, back in 1742, they didn't know how to have an esrog. What are you going to do? It was impossible to get. I don't know. Right? So it seems to us, especially nowadays, we have everything we could possibly want on our fingertips, but still, it's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So this might be, at the beginning, it might be a big chiddush. What do you mean? I thought that's us. Yirei Shamayim is the bechira, to choose to do it and to do your best to get to that place. But really, you have to remember, it says hakol b'dei Shamayim. Hakol. It doesn't even say kol, it says hakol. Everything. Everything is b'dei Shamayim, always. Chutz Yirei Shamayim is the world of Hishtadlus. There's even Hishtadlus in Gashmis, right? Still, a person can't sit on he can't just sit in his house and say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, if you want me to have money, I can have money. You still have to do Hishtadlus when it comes to Gashmis, right? So the way we can learn Hakol b'dei Shamayim, Chutz Yirei Shamayim in a little bit different way is that Hakol, meaning the effect, the culmination, the Gemar, the Lamaisa, Hakol b'dei Shamayim. Chutz mi what? Yirei Shamayim. Yirei Shamayim is you now. What are you putting into this? That's based on your Yirei Shamayim. How much do you fear God? How much Hishtadlus are you going to put into your Gashmis, into your Ruchnis, and based on everything we've learned.
Yeah. In a way, this is only b'diavad l'hatchila. You have to persevere up until the Maisa. And then once the Maisa is done, you should be calm and say, it was all in the
first, I want to stop that first line. Look, we said you have to persevere until the mitzvah.
What? We said
you do have to persevere up until the mitzvah. That's l'chatchila.
I'm trying to repeat what he said. Yeah.
I thought you were saying something different.
No, I'm saying on a certain level, it's for the
you said b'diavad. You said the word b'diavad.
Right. I'm saying, in a way, we have to persevere up into the Maisa. So you don't know when Hashem is going to let it happen or not happen. So as you b'diavad, once it happens, that's the only time you could stop persevering. That's, you know what I'm saying? Up until the Maisa, you can't say, well, it's in Hashem's hands, because that may take away from your perseverance.
You have to do Hishtadlus, keep going Hishtadlus.
And then when it's done,
correct,
that's the only time you know
keep
how
going
it's going to come out.
That's why if a person's doing a mitzvah, and it happens very often with learning, you're learning, and it's just not going. So that's a heter to stop. I don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand this Gemara. I don't understand Tosafos. I don't understand Chumash. I don't understand whatever you learn. I don't understand. God didn't give me a good hit. I'm not learning. She says, "What do you?" I decide whether you're going to understand or not. You just do your thing. You put the time in, and you do. That's it. They asked Rav Chaim Kanievsky once. They asked him, they said, someone went and they said, Chaim Kanievsky was known, Kol Torah Kula, like a million times. He knew everything. Rabbi, I try really hard. I need a segula. Everybody likes segulas. I need a segula for remembering my learning. I'm trying hard. I'm working on it. I'm not like you. I need my sleep. I'm normal, but I really put my effort in. I need some segula for remembering my learning. So Chaim Kanievsky looks at him and he says, Chazara. No, Rabbi, you don't understand. I need a segula for remembering my learning. I learn. Chaim Kanievsky says, Chazara. You put your efforts in. You do your chazaras. If you remember, great. If you don't, great. It's not up to you. See, remember what bitachon does is bitachon makes a distinction between how much effort we put in and how much achrayus we have to put on our shoulders and how much pressure we're supposed to feel. But at a certain point, you're supposed to let it all go because it's not on you anymore. Up until a mitzvah, you have to put all your kochas in. B'simcha rabba. But with the outcome, it's not your responsibility. You could learn the same Tosas 1,000 times and never get it. And you are Zocha Talmud Torah to the highest degree. It's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That point is up to him. This is very difficult for us. On many levels, it's very difficult. First of all, to believe such a thing. What do you mean? How does that make sense?
Can I tell that to my teacher in school?
You could if you want to.
I should have met you years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell my teacher.
You should have.
I
But we can start now. It's never too late. Ain't Shem Yesh B'Olam Kol.
I know, but how do I tell a teacher? I did all my work, I studied, but I'm sorry, you don't understand.
It's okay. You did okay. You're right.
That's
So this alleviates some of the pressure that we have, that we put on ourselves, especially in Ruchnis. Again, this is what I was giving the Haggadah before. The Yetzer Hara gets us. Because if you don't perform that mitzvah, you're a loser. You're a loser. Right? If you don't understand what you decide you want to do daf yomi. Again, the decisions and the hishtadlus, it does need to be spoken about. But let's just say a person decides, I'm doing daf yomi every single day. And he goes. And then some guy looks at him and says, you don't understand anything you're doing. Like, what are you doing? You don't understand anything. You're wasting your time. So the guy says, it's not up to me. It's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. If this is what he decided to do, again, we're not saying that he can make different decisions. This is what he decided to do. Every day he goes for 45-minute shiur, and he really doesn't understand. He doesn't follow it. But he could say, I'm doing my thing, the Kodesh Baruch Hu does his thing. Parenthetically, it could be that that's not for him. Right? When it comes to hishtadlus, when it comes to efforts of mitzvah, you do need to put your best foot forward. Right? You can't, this is where we have to be very careful. Because if I'm telling on the back end, the Chol V'Zol is telling on the back end, you can totally give up responsibility. It's not your achrayus, it's up to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You have to make sure 1,000,000 times that mentality, which is true, it's bitachon, does not creep into the hishtadlus area. Hishtadlus means you need to put your full God-given efforts in. He gave you kochos, he gave you a brain, he gave you a Rabbi, he gave you a lot of things, a lot of tools to use. You need to use every last tool.
That's why I'm saying it's only Shaar Habitachon. Because you have to do everything, because you don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah, just to show us. Interesting how you're using it. But okay, yeah, the idea is true. Yeah. So you have to make sure that your trust in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, meaning the feeling that it's not my responsibility, doesn't come into hishtadlus. And you have to feel that the pressures of hishtadlus, Latova, the good pressures of hishtadlus, pressures without, let's say this, let me get it clear. The pressure of hishtadlus is not because you're connected to the results. That's where most people's pressure comes from when they're doing hishtadlus. I have to perform, so it's all on me. That's not true. We need to get rid of that. And if we need to speak this out afterwards, this is very subtle. We've spoken about it many times, but it needs to get into the system. It's not easy. What do I mean the pressure? It's not a bad pressure. The pressure of mitzvahs and any hishtadlus is everything that I could put into this that a Kodesh Baruch Hu gave me, which is natural to me. Or maybe I have to push it a little bit harder. But it's me. Not because of a result. Because this is the koach I have, and I have to put my all into this minute. Why? Because this is what I have to do. We got to put it all in. We got to put it all. No, it's okay, because it doesn't matter anyway. Kodesh Baruch Hu decides if it's going to work or not. So why do I put my points in? No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's decision, we don't know how he makes decisions. But you need to make yourself the keli. In this world, we can only build keli. We can only build vessels. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the light. He drops the ore in. You can't build light. There's no such thing. You don't build it. You build a place. If you build it, hopefully, maybe, then he'll send the light in. He'll come. But our objective in life is to build the keli, which starts with the bechira. I choose. I want. I have a ratzah. I'm going to do this. Good. Step 1 and 2. And now I'm going to put all my efforts in out of my alarm clock. I'm going to go to sleep on time. I'm going to listen to positive music and inspiring drushes before I go to sleep that you can get up on time. And then in the morning, you try your best to get up. If you do, Gavaldik, thank you Hashem, because he's the one who ultimately got you out of that bed. But if you don't, okay, but I'm going to try again tomorrow. See, what happens when a person puts the gemar, the completion, on his shoulders, right? When you think that your responsibility is to get it done, what happens when it doesn't get done? I failed. I didn't perform. What happens when you fail again and again? You lose koach, you become weak. How many times can a person get up? Shiva yipol tzadik would come. It's not easy when you keep saying, it's me, it's on me, I can't do this. And it could be that we already started this when we were 12, 13, 14, right? I can't, I'm a loser, I'm never going to be able to do it. It could have started a long time ago. But when you remove that responsibility of did I complete or not complete, which is not up to us anyway, right? The whole thing is false in itself because you can't ever decide. The whole thing is like sheker. When you remove that, did I try or did I not try? Now that I could put my efforts into. And if I didn't try enough, I do have to try. I do it for my efforts and my shtadlis. Now, a person could become depressed from that also. He could. But it's a lot different. It's a lot lighter. Because that's in your control. Whereas the completion is never in your control. So to take upon yourself responsibility of something that's never in your control is a losing bet always. Can't win. Because if you perform, well, good, because I was supposed to. You don't give yourself credit. And when you don't perform, I'm a loser. Right? So it's a lose-lose, really. But when you remove the achrayas for the completion and you just put in your efforts, it motivates you. Oh, all I have to do is try my hardest, and even if I get a 62 on the test, that's okay. Tell the kid, you need to study for 2 hours. You need to try your best. And if you have any questions, ask me. And if you do that, I don't even care if you take the test or not. What do I care? What does it matter how you do? Now, of course, the kids take the test. But that's really how it goes. That's really, really how it goes. Now let's pause for... It could be that you already know this already. I don't know.
What's the difference between klal and this chapter on mitzvahs? What's particular? Why are we focusing? It's klal. It's all over, right? You just gave the example with homework. So what is he pointing out with mitzvahs? Because we might not think that, I don't know.
So, you're right. No, he does explain it, and I'm forgetting now. I think it's step... One of the steps is not by Gashmas. We'll get to it. I have to look it up. You're right. There is a little bit of a difference between the mitzvahs, the effort we have to put in between that and Gashmas. Steps 1 and 2. I'll get back to you.
So oddly enough, it says transgression.
It's coming up next? Okay, it could be it's coming up next. What?
It says transgressions also. So
That also. But that's part of... Even that world of transgression is still within the classic framework.
Is that a losas?
Yeah, losas is anything. That's still part of the classic framework of you have to do your shtadlis, but the actual completion of anything is not up to you. It's in the hishtadlis that there's a difference, and I forgot exactly what it is, but not in the completion of something. That's the same across the board. It's never, life's not in our control. What's in our control is everything up until that point.
You give some of the credit, like he just brought up for the Avera. You give some of the credit for the Avera for Hashem. That wasn't you.
Well,
The actual
The
Maisa.
effort was all you,
The
and
effort
the
was you.
actual thing, on a certain level, what? How do you finish the sentence? What part is in Hashem's hands with Avera?
The actual Lamaisa. The Lamaisa.
But you have to take responsibility for it. You
You
can't
do what I
say,
said. I
"Yeah,
said.
I did my effort.
First of all, you got there. First of all, you got to that place. And B, the fact that it happened means that Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted it to happen, but
To
that means
push you
you
for a
need
reason.
something. So you are responsible, ultimately. But not in a way that you should
Put it all
lose
on
yourself.
You.
Tshuva is supposed to
Hashem
be...
was trying to teach you something.
Exactly. What do you want to say? Good? Okay. I mean, we have a whole sug of Onus Rachmana Patre, right? If you're an onus, Kodesh Baruch Hu is your pater, right? Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu ultimately decides whether you can or you can't.
No.
And that can come on many levels, that even a person in his world of Ishtadlus, what happens when a person, he says, turning on the alarm clock is his Ishtadlus. It's Ishtadlus, to get up in the morning, right? What happens if the alarm clock doesn't turn on?
He forgot to say Alexa.
That's also Al Kadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning, even in the world of Ishtadlus, we have to know, how do I say this? every step you take, up until anything, we'll say, is Ishtadlus. The actual thing done is always where Bitachon kicks in. Meaning, in the case of getting up in the morning, where we think the ultimate is Ishtadlus is everything up until opening your eyes in the morning, and then it's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu if you get that like extra strength or whatever. So really, how you have to really look at it is really every moment there's a Ishtadlus and a Bitachon. Literally every moment. Right? Because I could breathe one moment and the next moment not. This moment is my Ishtadlus, I have to breathe. But the next moment, maybe a Kodesh Baruch Hu will give me a breath, Chas v'shalom. Right? But I have to breathe this moment. So in my world of Ishtadlus, so I'm going to try to get up in the morning. So I take a step towards, I want to get up in the morning. Good. So now, what happens to a person the next moment? He feels totally sick. Up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. I have to trust that he doesn't want me to today. Or my Ishtadlus is I'm going towards the alarm clock. Now the alarm clock in the big scheme is called Ishtadlus, right? In the big scheme, the alarm clock is called an active Ishtadlus, right? But as I'm walking to that alarm clock, what happens when I fumble with it and it falls on its head and breaks? 12 o'clock at night, Amazon can't come even they can't even come before morning. So how do we look at that? Oh my gosh, that was on me. My Ishtadlus, right? The Chovos HaLevavos said that the alarm clock is my Ishtadlus in the bigger picture, and therefore I messed up, I broke the alarm clock, oh my gosh, we fall back. No. Because in that moment, the walking is the Ishtadlus and the alarm clock becomes, right? If you can actually set it, that's where Bitachon kicks in. Are you actually going to set the alarm clock or not? It's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. You have to try. Okay, good. Now you set the alarm clock. Okay, so Ishtadlus check, Bitachon check, good. Now you keep going. You have to do everything. Every moment there's a Ishtadlus, and then there's the actual completion of that moment is up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So all of our life can literally be broken down into, we should break down every second into moments. You move one moment towards the Ishtadlus, the completion of that's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Now, we can't live that way, we go crazy. But I want people to understand that even in that which we call Ishtadlus, even that's broken down into what you can do and what's out of your control. Did that make sense? Are there questions on that? I think that's very important. Because if we don't understand that, we can make mistakes, thinking that, well, all of this is my Ishtadlus. Okay, the actual completion is not up to me, but there's a lot of Ishtadlus, and therefore there's a lot of pressure on me. Right? And we can make mistakes in that. But it's true and it's not true. In the overall picture, we call it Ishtadlus. But when you break it down as you're actualizing the Ishtadlus, even in our Ishtadlus, we have to remember that the completion of that stage of Ishtadlus is not up to me, it's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. I think this is extremely important. It's not going to settle in after just 30 minutes of this. It's something that you need to really review again and again. And it's a tremendous key to allowing out stress and anxiety when it comes to mitzvahs. How many has anybody ever stressed over a mitzvah? Anxiety over learning, davening, Shabbos. You know what? Enough of this. Let's open up Sichas Haran. I gave you this thing. I want to finish this up with this. Well, we're going to have to continue with this.
I'm glad you prefaced that by saying nobody argues on the stuff above us, because it's a little hard to believe that I'm not responsible for the actual completion of what I set out to do. But now you're telling me
I just read it.
in Hashem's hands.
This is one of the greatest svaras around 1,000 years. 1,000 years it's been around.
It doesn't mean you can slack off.
Right, see, that's the thing.
I know.
You have to be very careful when it comes to this. That's why you ask for Hashem's mercy, because, like I said, and let's get this clear,
Yeah.
in your hishtadlus, those moments, you have to put your all
I'm
in.
advocating my responsibility.
You might want to...
For you to stop.
No, the culmination of the Egel Zav was okay. Moshe Rabbeinu says in the Gemara, Gemara and Bracha says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's your fault for the Egel. Never knows this Gemara. Moshe Rabbeinu says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's your fault.
Wow.
And he brings a mashal. What's the mashal? Moshe Rabbeinu says, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what do you expect? Imagine you give a kid, 17, 18-year-old boy, good-looking guy, you give him some money in his pocket, you put some nice cologne on him, and you tell the boy, you have to sit outside the base zona for the whole day. It's like, what do you think's going to happen? Says Moshe Rabbeinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what did you think? Now, it's hard to understand the full. You gave them money, they had Bizas Hayam, they had all the money you took out of Mitzrayim. Everything. It's your fault. You set them up for this. This is Moshe Rabbeinu says. We're not going to go into details. Says the Gemara, what's your HaKadosh Baruch Hu's response? Well, anybody know? Moshe Rabbeinu says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's your fault. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's response? There's no response. It's killed me. There's no response. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't answer. At least according to the Gemara. There is no answer. Hashem doesn't say, you're right. He doesn't say you're wrong. Shtika Koda. So what does that mean? What do you mean, the Egel Hazav? That was the most egregious sin we ever did. Maybe the dancing, maybe up until that point. But the actual Lamaisa, that's not their fault. But there's a lot of other details that happened before. Maybe how about the next day? How did they wake up? Did they do tshuva? But the Lamaisa, you could maybe learn from this Gemara. That wasn't up to them. It was up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And he did say that. So that was a different, but that was, again, up until the Maisa. He said a million things. So does anyone should we do this right now? The Sichas Haran? A few extra minutes? Yeah, this is very important. This is one of the most important, I think, Sichas Harans in all of it. And I haven't even seen all of it, but I know.
Mel always says it's an answer, not the answer.
Sicha Beis, you can use this for all Torah mitzvahs. You can use this before Purim. You can use this before your Pesach Seder. And you should. You should use this before your Leil Shabbos meal. Tov ma'od, says Rabbi Nachman in Sichas Haran Beis. Tov ma'od lahashlich atzma Hashem Yisbarach v'lismach alav. It's very good to throw everything of yours on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to rely on Him. Lismach, tabitachon. V'darki, my way, says Rabbi Nachman. This is what I used to do. Keshebo hayom, morning comes in the morning. Ani moser kol hatanus sheli. I gave all of my movements. I'm not talking about mitzvahs, actions, movements. V'shel bonai, there's a chiddush, even of my children, v'atuliyim bi, everybody who I'm responsible for, they're dependent on me. Al Hashem Yisbarach. Every movement I make today, Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's on you. Sheiyah kol kirtzono, Yisbarach, v'zeto mod. Everything is in a Kodesh Baruch Hu's ratzon. It all is according to what He wants anyway. So in all we have is the ability, the bechira, right? The lamaisa, it's up to God. The bechira is up to me. You know what, Kodesh Baruch Hu? I give it all to you. My bechira, my choice, is that it's yours. Whatever happens is on you. Gam azai ein sarich lidog. Now I don't have to worry, right? Daig is the antithesis to bitachon, there's no base. V'lach shavkla, I don't have to think anymore. Im misnag karo'oi im lav. Did I act appropriately or not? I don't have to think anymore. The actual act, not up to me. Did I do proper? Did I not? I don't care. I will do what I have to do, but the lemaisa, the hanhaga, not up to me. Because I rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If Imu Yisbarach wrote a binyan acher, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants something else, then he'll make me do something else. Kertzono Yisbarach, according to what he wants. Now, Rabbi Nachman also says you have to follow every single halach in Shulchan Aruch, right? Don't forget, this is bitachon speak. Hishtadlis, you have to do everything you can do, keeping halacha, being careful. But the hanhaga, the actual movement, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's up to you. V'chein keshmagia Shabbos or Yom Tiv, right? Not just every day, even Shabbos, even Yom Tiv. Purim. People stress out about Adlo. Well, if you're younger, you stress out about Adlo Yada. Okay, enough for now. Azayani Moser Kol Esnagus V'Chol HaInyonav Atnul Shel Osa Shabbos O HaYom Tov L'Hashem Yisborach. All I give over to Kodesh Baruch Hu, all the movements, all the inyanim, all the mitzvahs of the day, everything. Shabbos, Yom Tiv, davening, challah, learning, sukkah, lulav, everything. Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's all on you. I throw it on him. Shiyah Kol Ketzon Yisborach. Because I believe it's all going to go in your ratzon. Of course I'll try to get up and daven. Of course I'll try to shake the lulav. And I'll do it all the kavanah. But however it goes, it's on you. Give it to you. Vazai. And even if a person wakes up and he can't even put kavanah in because he's not feeling well, it's all on the Kodesh Baruch Hu. What am I supposed to do? Vazai eich shemisnai b'oso Shabbos Yom Tov shuv eno choshev v'choshesh klal. Then I go and I live through Shabbos. I no longer think about or worry about it at all. Shemelo yatsa yedei chavaso panhagas kedushas oso yom. Maybe I didn't do the mitzvah properly. Maybe I didn't keep Shabbos properly. I don't think like that anymore. Because did I or didn't I is not up to me. It's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Because I gave all of it to Kodesh Baruch Hu, the samach lav yisbarach levad, and I only rely on Kodesh Baruch Hu. That doesn't mean shirk your responsibilities in ishtadlus. Do all the ishtadlus possible. But the hanhaga, the actual act, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I give it to you. Rabbi Nachman says you should say this. You should say this every day. Last year, 2 years ago, I learned this Sichas Haran and I've used it. And then I don't remember, it was last year, 2 years ago. And I was having maybe it was COVID time, Seder night, okay? The first Seder, Baruch Hashem, I have a lot of little children, and it was not going according to my expectations in any way. And although I kept it together, I was perturbed. The next day, I see a sefer from this David Kivak. He's a Breslov Mashpia in Eretz Yisrael, and he had in it, before your Seder, you should be saying Sichas Haran Beis. I did exactly what he said. I've already learned it, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. Because everything that perturbs us is because it's not going my way. It's just all gaiva. It's all expectations. It's not with bitachon at all. I said, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm giving you the Seder. I set it up. I bought all the stuff. I brought all the kids to the table. But Kodesh Baruch Hu, whatever you want goes. It was one of the best Sederim I've ever had in my life. Wow. Did that mean it went, everything was perfect and the kids were like sitting there with like, no, that's not what it meant. It means the kids were acting crazy, but I was okay with it. And we took those mistakes and we turned them into the Seder. Oh, so you want to act crazy? Let's go act out a scene. My mind, like I said, with bitachon, your mind opens up to new possibilities. When you're stuck in your own expectation, your own wants, your own desires, as holy as they may be, you become very narrow in that exact picture that you have pictured. Says Rabbi Nachman, yeah, right. Kodesh Baruch Hu decides, throw it on him, do your best, but then you could smile in every act you do.
As if Rabbi Nachman learned Chavos Levavos.
It's almost as if, yeah. He probably did, actually. Baal Shem Tov was a big fan of Chavos Levavos. So his great grandson, of course.
Reminds me of one of the favorite articles we ever read. We were going through.